Leviticus chapter 2 is one of those parts of the Bible that at first glance might look simple, but when you take a closer look, it carries deep meaning. It is about the grain offering, sometimes called the meal offering. Unlike the burnt offering in chapter 1, this one was not about sacrificing an animal. Instead, it was about bringing flour, oil, and frankincense to God. At first, that might sound ordinary, but when you think about it, God was teaching His people that He values even the basic things of life when they are given to Him sincerely. The chapter starts by describing what someone should do if they wanted to present a grain offering. They were to bring fine flour, pour oil on it, and put frankincense on it. This might seem like a simple recipe, but each ingredient has a lesson behind it. Fine flour represents the best of what you have, not the rough or leftover part, but the pure and carefully prepared portion. Oil in the Bible often represents the Holy Spirit, which means our offering to God should always be guided by His Spirit. And frankincense is a sweet-smelling spice, showing that our worship and sacrifice should rise up to God like a pleasing aroma. The priest would take a handful of this mixture and burn it on the altar as a memorial portion. The rest of it would belong to the priests as their share. This shows something important. When you give to God, nothing is wasted. Part of it is a sweet offering to Him, and part of it goes to support those who serve in His house. It's a picture of how giving not only honors God, but also helps His work on earth continue. There were different ways the grain offering could be prepared. Some people brought it baked in an oven, some on a griddle, and some in a pan. This teaches us that God allowed flexibility in worship. It didn't have to look the same for everyone. Some people may bring what they can bake, while others bring what they can fry. The point is not the method, but the heart behind it. God accepts different expressions of worship, as long as they are pure and dedicated to Him. One interesting rule is that all grain offerings had to be made without yeast and without honey. Why? Because yeast in the Bible often represents sin, pride, or corruption, and honey, while sweet, can spoil and ferment. God was teaching His people that their offerings should be pure, not corrupted by sin or by temporary sweetness. Worship is not about impressing God with outward sweetness. It's about bringing a sincere, holy, and lasting gift. On the other hand, God commanded that every offering had to include salt. Salt preserves and gives flavor. Spiritually, it represents covenant and faithfulness. When you add salt to an offering, it is like saying, "Lord, this is not temporary. This is lasting. I am committed to you." It's a reminder that our relationship with God is not just for a moment, but for a lifetime. The chapter also talks about bringing the first fruits. This means offering the very first part of the harvest before you enjoy the rest. It's a way of saying, "God, you come first in my life. Before I eat from this harvest, I will honor you with the first portion." That principle still speaks to us today. Whatever we earn, whatever we achieve, the first thing we should think about is how to honor God with it. What's powerful here is that the grain offering didn't involve blood like the burnt offering. That means it was not about atonement for sin, but about thanksgiving and dedication. It was a way for people to say, "God, thank you for providing my daily bread. I give back a portion of it to you." It was more of a worship gift than a sin offering. This teaches us something important. Worship is not always about asking God to forgive us or to help us. Sometimes it's simply about thanking Him. It's about giving Him back a part of what He already gave us. In today's world, this might look like giving our money, time, or our talents back to God. Not because we want something in return, but simply because He deserves it. When we look closely, the details of Leviticus to point us to Jesus. He is the bread of life, the pure and perfect offering. He lived without sin, just like the fine flour without yeast. His life was guided by the Spirit, like oil mixed in the flour. His sacrifice rose to God like a sweet aroma, just like frankincense. And He made a lasting covenant with us, symbolized by salt. So, even in this simple grain offering, we can see a picture of Christ. Think also about the practical side. Not everyone in Israel was rich enough to bring a bull or a lamb for sacrifice. But flour, oil, these were things almost everyone had. God was showing that worship is not only for the rich. Everyone can bring something, and every gift matters to Him when given with a sincere heart. This challenges us today. Maybe you don't have much money. Maybe you don't feel talented. Maybe you don't think you have something big to give to God. But even the smallest act, the simplest gift, the quiet prayer, the humble service, all of it is precious when it is offered to Him from the heart. Leviticus 2 is a reminder that God is not only looking at what we give, but how we give. The heart behind the offering matters more than the size of the offering. He values purity, sincerity, gratitude, and faithfulness. That is what makes an offering acceptable. So when you think about this chapter, don't just see flour and oil and salt. See worship. See thanksgiving. See commitment. See Jesus reflected in every detail. And most importantly, see yourself in it. Ask, am I bringing God my best? Am I offering Him my first, not my leftovers? Am I living a life that rises up to Him like a sweet aroma? Leviticus 2 is simple, but it is powerful. It teaches us that worship is not complicated. It's about giving God the best of what we have, however small it may look, and doing it with a pure heart. It's about putting Him first, living faithfully, and remembering that everything we have comes from Him. So as we wrap this up, let's carry this lesson with us. God doesn't only want our big sacrifices. He wants our daily bread. He wants our first fruits. He wants the pure offering of our hearts. When we live this way, our lives become a sweet fragrance to Him. Thank you so much for listening today. If this explanation blessed you, don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who might need it, and subscribe for more Bible teachings like this. And let me leave you with this thought: every simple act of worship you give to God matters more than you know. Until next time, stay blessed, keep seeking God, and I'll see you in the next video.